Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today I've got a bit of a news roundup for you guys. So we've just heard some interesting tidbits from EA's latest earnings call, hinting about the future of Battlefield. Also, yesterday, DICE had a Dev Corner livestream where they answered community questions, and among them was the topic of in-game harassment that has been somewhat of an event recently, and apparently EA has disbanded its so-called positive play group, which you may find quite interesting. So we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, if you enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like below and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos. As always, it is absolutely free, and our current goal is 48,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for your support there. I really do appreciate it. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, Ghost, where is the Hourglass gameplay, mate? And well, sadly, I simply haven't had time to log into the game once this entire week. Life is just quite busy, but don't worry, I will be bringing you content on that soon. However, to begin with here, let's take a look at the EA earnings call. So one thing really stood out here, and it was during Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA's opening remarks. He was sort of listing off EA's biggest franchises and how they were planning to make lots of money, etc. And whilst doing so, he described the next Battlefield game as a reimagination of Battlefield as a truly connected ecosystem. Now, this was picked up by the Battlefield Bulletin. It's been doing the rounds on Twitter this morning, and yes, I still can't get used to calling it X, and it's obvious that this wording of a reimagination has people worried, including me. A reimagination of things like the class system, for example, was exactly the problem that got Battlefield 2042 into the sticky situation that we saw at launch. Now, yes, granted, a big part of it was that DICE didn't have the time they needed, and COVID and EA being too restrictive, but some phrases that have been heard very often since Battlefield 2042 came out are things like, there's no need to go reinventing the wheel, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and leave well enough alone. I think there is space for innovation in Battlefield, but perhaps not when it comes to core features like the class system. And I would say that the next game is definitely just a bad time to be experimenting. It seems blatantly obvious to me that what the core Battlefield audience want is a true and tested, stable, predictable, solid Battlefield game, and not a reimagining. I actually really think DICE should have two separate lines of games, kind of like Call of Duty, you know, one mainline series like Battlefield 3 and 4, and then some kind of a spin-off line of games where they can experiment with things for titles like Hardline. You know, despite the negative reviews that game got, I actually think it kind of fit well for a little stopgap between Battlefield 4 and 1. Now, it could also be that they aren't talking about a reimagining of the core game at all, but rather how multiple titles connect to one another in this new Battlefield ecosystem, or Battlefield universe, as they like to call it. So as we know, Ridgeline Games are working on a new campaign, DICE Stockholm are working on multiplayer, and rumour has it that Ripple Effect are working on a standalone Portal 2.0 type game. I honestly don't think we'll see a Battle Royale unless it's a game mode within one of the games. I think that trend is just, you know, wearing a little bit too thin these days despite Warzone's success, so this reimagining could simply be all of those things melding together. They also showed us another game slate here listing their massive online communities, sports games, and blockbusters, and as usual, they've completely ghosted Battlefield entirely. Now, not a great sign for the future of content in the game, but this could be simply the case of, if your investors aren't asking questions about why Battlefield is doing so badly, maybe we shouldn't remind them. Now, here's something else I found interesting within the slides, which really tells you a lot about gaming trends. So this is a graph of EA's sales in millions of dollars comparing the last quarters of the last 3 fiscal years. Now, the light blue section at the top is the amount of money made from full game sales. So that's from you actually purchasing their games. And the other dark blue section is all revenue made from live service across all of their products. So as you can see, 324 million compared to 1.6 billion. So if you wonder why you only see live service games these days, there's your answer right there. They also had another slide showing platforms, so the dark blue section is mobile, the middle section is PC and other, and the large section at the top is console. So here you can see that console revenue is dwarfing PC and mobile revenue put together. Interesting stuff there. Okay, before we move on to discussing the live stream, I'm just editing this in here after the fact because DICE have just tweeted out a new article that was released on the gamesradar.com, and this is an interview with Ryan MacArthur, who, if you're not aware, is a senior producer on Battlefield 2042. And the majority of the article is all about DICE reflecting on Battlefield 2042's long road to redemption. In fact, that is the title of the article, and most of it is information that we already know and how DICE have sort of battled against the odds to come and bring the game up to par for the majority of the player base. And I would say whilst there are definitely things left to fix, and it's maybe not the Battlefield game that most people would have wanted even now, the game is a hell of a lot better than it was when it released, and I still have a good time playing, as I'm sure many of you guys do. However, there is one small section at the end here that is called Looking Ahead, and I just wanted to read this, guys, to you because it does give us a little bit of insight into what DICE are thinking with Season 6. So it says here, MacArthur isn't able to discuss the particulars of Season 6, but he is able to give us an insight into DICE's mindset moving forward. So he says, coming into Season 5, I think that was sort of our first big step pushing forward into new. There's a lot of nostalgia tied to Season 5, the new map Reclaimed being a nod to the Battlefield 4 era, and even the colouring and tone of the season is very much leaning back towards the roots of the franchise. But what we really want to do is find new ways to connect with players now that we've really gotten the game under us. If you take a broad look at what's come in Season 5, you get a clear sense of where Battlefield 2042 is heading next. DICE is exploring ways to strengthen the foundations, a tighter focus on squad management and modes which emphasize squad collaboration, and then find new ways to leverage the scale of the platform. That's where we're at right now. We're really trying to sink our teeth into what makes Battlefield great, while trying to find new ways to deliver that to players. I think Season 6 is going to be one of those really interesting moments where people are going to go, well, I didn't expect that, but that's really Battlefield. And I think that's the kind of thing we want to go after right now. How do we move forward and give our players more, but still Battlefield? So that's interesting. The fact that they've given us quite a lot of throwbacks to previous Battlefield games with Season 5, I definitely agree on that. That is apparently a clear sense of where the game is heading next. I also find it very interesting that he thinks with Season 6 that we're going to have a sort of, whoa, I didn't expect that kind of reaction. With Season 5, I think we all pretty much expected what we got in Season 5. It wasn't a massive shocker. Obviously, we'd had a teaser of the map. We all thought it looked like Zavod. Sure enough, it was an inspired by Zavod map, and the rest of the stuff was, you know, pretty bare bones. Honestly, there was like a couple of weapons and an RPG returned, and other than that, there wasn't a whole lot to write home about. So maybe, just maybe, that means we are actually getting more maps in Season 6, at least more than one. That would actually be really, really awesome, so keep your fingers crossed, guys. Okay, let's move on to yesterday's live stream here. So a while ago, I made a video about a streamer by the name of Ash, who has been the target of harassment for months and months. Absolutely unacceptable, in my opinion. And when questioned about this on the live stream, Stratford finally said something about this.
I just wanted to address that to all of you right now. This is something we as a team take very seriously. We cannot go into specifics about what action we are taking, but I just want to call out that our team is on top of this. We are monitoring, we are aware. We just can't comment on it publicly right now, but steps will be taken. So for all the people that jump into the game to harass our players, please stop, it's not cool. And we will find you and we will take action on your account. That behavior is not okay, so yeah, just please stop that. But I wanted to call that out for all of you, so hopefully that answers some of your questions. To be continued.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of Stratford, I'll tell you that. But it is consoling, I hope, for Ash and Flex Lanes and any of these other players being targeted by this harassment who you may have heard of, to hear straight from the horse's mouth finally that they are doing something about it, but for whatever reason, they can't share it with us yet. They also confirmed during the live stream that Control will return. I know a lot of you guys and myself enjoyed the Control game mode quite a bit. I thought it was the best event so far, and I would very much like to see it return at some point, so that's happening, which is cool. Now, to wrap up here, I just want to comment on a recent article by gamesindustry.biz entitled EA reshuffles studio leadership after Samantha Ryan departs. Now, I'll link the whole article down below if you want to read it, but the bit that interests me is this bit here, and shout out to Lossie for putting me onto this. Franklin was the leader of EA's Positive Play group, which the publisher had set up to try and make gaming communities safer and more inclusive. This included setting up a charter in 2020, which is the year before 2042 releases, and taking a stronger stance against toxic behavior, including hate speech and abuse. The 20 people in this group have now been disbanded and attached to different studios. EA says that Positive Play remains a priority despite the change. So EA setting up a dedicated 20-person team to target Positive Play doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, I think we've seen some big shifts just in Battlefield 2042, like for example, not including all chat when the game launched because of toxic players, not having kills and deaths on the scoreboard so nobody gets their feelings hurt, and of course most recently not being able to kick anybody from squads. Now, I've always suspected that some EA policy was behind all of those decisions and that DICE really had no choice, but it seems given the sorry state of the game and the necessity to appease the players' needs, they've done a complete turnaround on all of these features, and they are now, of course, in the game. I don't think that's a coincidence somehow, now that we see that this Positive Play group has been disbanded. EA probably realised that by going up against the will of the community, they were doing more harm than good, and honestly, they were wasting their money. Now, that's not to say that I don't believe in Positive Play or I don't condone harassment and name-calling. I simply don't think you should limit the tools and experience of every player in your game just to control a few idiots. You know, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. We have reporting tools in the game. We can use that to report these abusive idiots in the all chat, etc. And, you know, one would hope that DICE and EA will act on those reports, but well, recent events with Ash have shown me that they don't always follow through. But that is about going to do it for this one, guys. A big thank you to my members today for their additional support. I really do appreciate you guys, so thank you so much for that. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more Battlefield, and I will see you guys all soon for some Hourglass content, hopefully, if I ever get time to sit down and play. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.